The day had started like any other, but there was a strange heaviness in the air I couldn't ignore. I had known the truth for weeks, maybe months. The small inconsistencies, the hushed phone calls, the late nights she could never explain. Carolyn had tried to hide her betrayal, thinking she was clever, untouchable, but I had watched quietly, gathered proof, and waited. I wasn't angry yet. I wasn't desperate. I was patient, calculated, letting the storm gather until the timing was perfect. And now, as she walked into the room, confident, unaware, I knew it was time to let the truth speak. She finally asked the question I'd been waiting for. Her voice trembled with confusion, fear, and the faintest trace of hope. "Why don't you want me anymore?" she said, searching my eyes for forgiveness, for the warmth I used to show. But that man was gone. I saw the flicker of panic in her eyes, the small cracks forming behind her practiced calm. The same arrogance that once let her betray me so easily now began to crumble. And I knew that my calm, deliberate response would cut deeper than any outburst ever could. I smiled, not cruelly, not with anger, just a slow, steady smile that told her I had already won back something she couldn't touch, my control. "Because you already gave what was mine to someone else," I said, each word precise, quiet, and final. The effect was instant. Her face froze mid-expression. Confusion first, then disbelief, and finally a creeping, desperate panic. She realized I had known, that my silence hadn't been ignorance. It had been awareness. My patience hadn't been weakness. It had been quiet strength. She couldn't speak, couldn't even breathe right. Her next words stumbled out fragile and trembling. I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, voice shaking, as if she could somehow undo what she'd done. But I stayed silent. I didn't need to explain how I'd found out. I didn't need to justify my calm. The truth was already written in my expression, in the way I looked at her without emotion. Her excuses fell flat, fading into the quiet space between us. She searched my eyes for softness, for any sign of the man who used to forgive her easily. But there was none. What she found instead was a stillness that frightened her more than rage ever could. The room seemed smaller, the silence heavier. Her confidence dissolved, replaced by trembling uncertainty. The woman who once manipulated every situation now sat before me, shaken, exposed, powerless. Every assumption she'd relied on, my love, my forgiveness, my restraint, was gone. She had gambled with loyalty and lost everything. Minutes dragged. She sat down slowly, her hands shaking as she tried to steady herself. The weight of what she'd done settled in. The realization that she'd destroyed something sacred, something that could never be restored. Her voice softened into broken apologies, words that once would have moved me, but not this time. They sounded hollow against the silence of truth. She tried to explain, to reason, to rewrite what had happened. But there are some lessons that explanations can't erase. By the end of the night, she was quiet. No defenses, no pride left. She finally understood that the calm she once mocked was now the force that humbled her completely. She learned that once trust is given away, it can never truly return, and that the man who protects his peace no longer fights for what no longer values him. That night, she didn't lose me because of anger. She lost me because of silence, because I chose calm over chaos, and that calm became the lesson she would never